He's editor-in-chief of Breitbart News and a New York Times best-selling author. And on this podcast, he brings deep research, prescient analysis, and world-class guests. He's Alex Marlow, and this is The Alex Marlow Show.
All right, this is an exciting episode today on The Marlow Show. I promise you, you're going to be pumped up by this. We talked to Scott Pressler, or I talked to Scott Pressler. I don't need to live the royal we. For 50 minutes. Scott is one of the most powerful activists that we have. Goes around the country registering people to vote. Very brave person, very high energy, and that comes through, and he'll make you want to take out your phone and start texting friends and family members to make sure they're signed up, registered to vote, and going to turn in their ballots, because we get into one moment of the interview, we get into scary details about how easy it would be to flip New Jersey red, for example, if we just get Republicans to turn in their ballots. So that's the name of the game. He gives you tools, a lot of interesting history and background, and it's just a fun conversation. But this is what it's all about. I'll tell you, I think of Scott as sort of the opposite side to the coin that I'm on, which is one of the reasons I do the things that I do. One of the things that why I became a online conservative activist is that I don't really have a deep desire. It doesn't feel great for me to be out there walking the streets, knocking on doors, and putting road under the tires, whatever the expression would be, sitting on tables and waiting for people to come by to talk one-on-one. I need to do the big forest stuff, and Scott gets into the trees with people. He goes one by one, targets people, gets them to our side. I like doing the big picture stuff, and it makes me have all the more admiration for the people who are really doing the pick and shovel work on the ground. We need to encourage these people, and Scott is the absolute tip of the spear in this stuff. So I've been looking forward to doing this for a while, and that will be today's show. It is a lot of great stuff in the news. I'll just recommend Breitbart.com. If I had a normal show, of course, I'd be getting into the NBA cheating scandal and Stephen A. Smith somehow blaming Trump for it, even though Trump was not in the White House when the investigation began, but the literal mafia involved there with perhaps we're going to find that they were rigging games. They were certainly rigging a poker game, it looked like, and so many crazy details there where the sports bettors were getting non-public information about players. Players were apparently exiting games early to influence prop bets so that they can make money. And all of this thing, I'll give you a quick hot take on this and more down the road, but the sports betting is way out of control in this country. Generally speaking, it's a terrible use of time. I think free people should be allowed to do these things, but with the ubiquity of it, it's just getting so gnarly. It's so addictive. I think gambling is one of the most addictive things you could possibly do. At least that's from personal experience. And it's just such a huge waste of time following sports ball so closely instead of doing productive things. And now we're seeing a lot of people become crooks because of it. People who don't need the money also. A lot of these people don't need the money. So more details on that at Breitbart.com. More updates on the left melting down over the Trump's ballroom that he's building at the White House, which is perfectly fine. Left somehow deciding it's the end of the world. And of course, we have our Nazi Graham Plattner in Maine, who is not getting condemned or disavowed by a lot of Democrats, even though he had a SS tattoo or has one and is only getting it removed despite decades of having it. So much good stuff. But I'll send you to Breitbart if you want more, and because I don't want to delay anymore. Let's get into it with Scott Pressler. All right, one of the most effective modern day activists is Scott Pressler, who has been getting his due finally, and he's been on the road a lot as we are heading into elections season. I think some people don't get that it's here, it's happening right now. And I want to talk a little bit, Scott, about what's going on, just race by race, and go to some of the places where you're visiting and where you think are most important and where you want people fired up.
Yes.
But I think everyone knows you at this point, and they all know you're effective, but I don't think people totally understand exactly what you do. And I just want to go big picture. What is it that you do when people say, oh, well, Scott Pressler's on the ground, he's going to be doing a lot. What is it that you're doing?
I think I view myself, and thank you for having me, by the way. I view myself as the hype man, as the connector, as the shot of adrenaline in the arm, and more importantly, I'm the grassroots activist. I love registering voters. I love knocking on doors. I love connecting with voters. And most importantly, I love listening to what people on the ground want and how I, as a populist Republican, can either produce policies to give them what they want or elect good people in office that are going to provide them those policies. And so really, I am the grassroots extraordinaire that's trying to defeat Democrats everywhere across the country and elect Republicans in office.
And so how do you do this? You've got a lot of approaches, but the number one is simply just getting people registered to vote and getting their ballots turned in, it seems like. But that's way easier said than done. Can you give us some detail on how you accomplish this?
Well, my methodology, my thought process is that there are more Republicans than Democrats, but Democrats are better about getting ballots into boxes. Democrats are ultimately better about galvanizing and mobilizing their people to vote. And so, two very important statistics that I want your audience and viewers to take away from this discussion is that 30% of Christians are not registered to vote. 30. And, here I am before your show wearing a Charlie Kirk Freedom shirt. And I know how important his faith was to him,
Yes.
his Christianity, his biblical values. And I look around, and when I realize that 30% of Christians are unregistered, wow, what a radically better and what a more transformative country we would be in if those 30% actually voted. And so it is on my heart to reach out to churches and to do voter registration. And I actually want to thank President Trump, who has eased the Johnson Amendment. And that's making it easier for political people like me to enter churches and to give priests and other members of faith the understanding that, no, you can do voter registration in your places of worship, and that is legal, that is lawful. And I want to get people from the pews to the polls. And that's statistic number one. Statistic number two is in Pennsylvania, at least, 30% of hunters are not registered to vote. There are 900,000 hunters in Pennsylvania. 1/3 are not registered. That's 300,000 people. And when I look to the 2016 election, where Donald Trump was victorious by 40,000 votes, and I look to the 2020 election, where that was won by Joe Biden by 80,000 votes. And then I look at the 2024 election where Donald Trump won by 120,000 votes. What if we were able to get every hunter registered and voting with those 300,000 votes? Pennsylvania would be locked in, and the Democrats would never be able to win it again. And therefore, Republicans would win the White House so long as they continue to win Georgia and North Carolina. So ultimately, my goal is I want to meet voters where they are, aka sorority houses, fraternity houses, gun shows, gun shops, churches.
Only the fun
voters.
stuff. These are only the best places to meet people.
Yes, and to women out there, to single, beautiful, conservative women. If you're single, go to a gun show. You're going to have the time of your life. You're going to see bearded, toxic, masculine, alpha men that are ready to meet wonderful conservative women. And I'm telling you, you go to Home Depot or a gun shop, you're going to be getting home with a man. And I want to meet voters where they are, get them registered, get them excited, and get them voting.
Yeah, Scott, we got to do a dating app. Me and you, we got to talk after this. I think you got some ideas. So you're talking about, I want to talk about blocks of voters and I want to talk individuals. And you already introduced the blocks concept. Who are these groups of people that you feel like are most gettable? And Charlie Kirk and I were very close. I don't know if you know our history, Scott, but I know you guys worked very close together as well. But Charlie got to start writing for me at Breitbart, and I was a regular on his podcast, once a week guest, and we were very close. And I got to tell you that of all of the great things that have happened since his horrific assassination, I think that people connecting their faith with their politics is maybe the thing I'm most excited about. And that was the first place you went when it came to blocks. So I want you to speak about whatever blocks you want that you think are most important to talk about this time. But this sort of faith revival that could have been inspired by Charlie or was inspired by Charlie that I'm hoping is real. This is a big opportunity for us, isn't it?
It is. And as I mentioned, 30% of Christians are not registered to vote. We're seeing people drawn to their faith. But one thing that always sticks with me is faith without works is dead. And what I mean by that is I'm so glad that people on this earthly kingdom, this place that we live, are ultimately wanting to be saved and wanting to be with their Savior and to ultimately go to heaven and everything that comes with that. But that still means that while we're on earth, we still have to do good. And that means that we have to put our faith into action, 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 action. And that means we need to elect good biblical leaders and good people into office as well. Otherwise, we are just a part of the problem, not the solution. And so what I'm also drawn to is one other quote that stuck with me when we were doing a ceremony in honor of Charlie. Is one quote was, "You were neither hot nor cold, you were lukewarm, so I spit you out." And I think we're really seeing a lot of that in politics right now, even on the Republican side. Look at Indiana. I think Indiana is a great example where President Trump is facing potentially losing the midterm elections, especially with Governor Newsom and the Democrats trying to jerry-rig congressional maps, which they've been doing for decades. And here you have Republicans, the opportunity to fight back, which they have done in states like Florida and Texas. And I think even Nebraska is considering it as well, and other states across our beautiful nation. And then Indiana, a state that goes 30 points for Donald Trump, that is locked in for the Republican Party. And they're like, nah, we're not going to do redistricting. We like having 2 additional members of Congress that are Democrats. And so the lukewarm comment is really to any of these people in the Republican Party that we are seeing the Democrats are opposition, pro-ICE. I mean, excuse me, no, they're not pro-ICE. They're anti-ICE. They're pro-illegal aliens. Many of them are celebrating Charlie Kirk's assassination. And quite frankly, many of them would celebrate our extermination. And I find myself questioning, how do I exist? How do I coexist with people that are a direct threat to my existence? And so the time right now is we can no longer be lukewarm. I need people to be peacefully hot. I need people to take action. I need people to do something. And that's why we're going to Indiana, Alex, and we will be primarying any Republican that doesn't do redistricting in Indiana. Mark my words, I am coming for your seats peacefully.
Amazing. And that's exactly what we need. And I got to tell you, this has been the message of Andrew Breitbart since I started with him 17 years ago and probably before, is that we cannot have lukewarm people standing in the way of progress just for the sake of being polite. And I feel like most of those people are not in positions of power in the Republican Party. I'm not calling on people to be mean. You have to yell at everyone. You have to swear at everyone. But we have to be fearless in making sure that we are putting forward an offensive agenda. And if people are going to stand in the way for some reason, then there's no place for them here. And you touched on something which is really interesting. It made me think of how even before Charlie was murdered, I thought I saw a real demonic streak emerging amongst the Democrats. And I'm not being figurative. I'm being literal, like possessed, godless, possessed people. And just this week, we know that the Democrats are running a guy with a literal Nazi tattoo, which is makes him a Nazi as far as I can tell in Maine. You got this guy, Jay Jones, who in Virginia, who wants to murder Republicans and perhaps their kids. And then you've got Jen Psaki, who is on podcast trying to break up J.D. Vance's marriage, which is, of course, directly against biblical principles. And I'm thinking that these people are possessed, not fake possessed, like real possessed. And then we have these Republicans and also weak church leaders too, which I've discussed on the show, who are trying to hear them out and trying to take their feelings under consideration. We can't have that anymore. We need to defeat these people. That's the only way. And anyone who doesn't want us to defeat them is part of the problem.
I want your audience to hear me loudly and clearly, and I'm not being hyperbolic by any sense of the imagination. If Republicans don't turn out this November, Tuesday, November 4th, 2025, the very people that celebrated Charlie Kirk's assassination win. and they will be cheering in the streets. And quite frankly, I have to be real with you, Alex. I truly believe if Republicans don't win this November, then it's only going to inspire the left to be more violent. And in their minds and their heads, they're going to be thinking to themselves, wow, we just got away with murdering one of the top conservative figureheads, conservative activists, influencers in the entire country, and Republicans didn't even come out to vote after we murdered him, celebrated his death, and even have candidates like Jay Jones that want to exterminate other Republicans. Now, let me ask you, and this is, of course, rhetorical, do you think Jay Jones, a Democrat that believes in the extermination of Republican children, that he is going to prosecute illegal aliens committing crimes? Do you think he's going to prosecute Antifa? Or do you think he's probably going to prosecute the Christians praying outside of an abortion clinic in Virginia? Who is he going to target? Who's he going to go after? And one more thing, I really want to tie a big, beautiful red bow over this because I've already talked about how the Democrats are anti-ICE and pro-legal aliens. I really encourage people at home, once a day, go type into the internet, ICE press releases. Just go type it up. And what you're going to find is one of the most recent press releases, an illegal alien in Virginia was arrested for exposing his genitalia to a child at a bus stop in Virginia. And I think we need to do a better job as the Republican Party and just as American citizens exposing every single crime, especially those violent crimes and those crimes against children, our daughters, our American children. Every single one of them needs to expose for the horrific nature of every individual crime and really paint a picture and what it means to be a Democrat supporting anti-ICE and supporting pro-legal aliens. And I think if more people, because most people I think are common sense. And when you have the Democrats saying, no, it's okay for an illegal alien to expose his genitalia to children at a bus stop versus Republicans, hey, Americans should come first. We should be deporting criminal illegal aliens. I think we have the opportunity maybe to move the needle just enough that Jay Jones won't be elected this November.
Yeah, I hope so. But Scott, it's just so interesting how you frame that up, how if we don't do well, if we don't win in November, then they will have gotten away with murder, literally. And with all of these calls to violence and this actual violence, we're just giving them the green light to do more of it because it's effective. And I think that is just, it's chilling, but it really does raise the stakes, I think, in an accurate way. So how do we do it? So what are we targeting? I want to do micro and macro. I can't resist. Let's go to micro first, and then we'll go. I want to hear about the various areas, but I want to hear the Scott Pressler pitch to someone. When you're in an airport or you're just knocking on doors or you're at some event on a campus or something, and you meet an individual, you're trying to get them signed up to vote, registered to vote, and to vote properly. We can do a role play, however you want to do it, but I want to get a sense of what the pitch is. What's the close?
Sure. Well, it really depends on a variety of factors. I'm going to make this as micro for you as possible, but I think the best example is really Pennsylvania. And so let me explain the context. It's going to give me just a moment to set this up for you. I'm going to set up a layup. So let me explain the context and what I've been working on for the last year in order to have the November 4th election be successful. So we have a Pennsylvania Supreme Court. It comprises of 7 justices. 5 are Democrat, 2 are Republican. Of the 5 Democrats, 3 are up for what's called retention. They were first elected in 2015. Now, once they're elected, there's no opponent. It's either a yes, you retain them and keep them, or no, you don't retain them and you get rid of them. Yeah. If we get a majority no vote, Alex, we will literally get rid of 3 Democrat justices in one election by simply voting no to them. So it's not good enough for me to just go, they're a Democrat, I want to get rid of them. To some people, certainly. But what are the policies? What is the understanding that I have as a conservative and as a Republican, an America First person, and an understanding of my base to understand how to speak to them in such a manner to earn their vote this November, and why the Democrats are freaking out about us actually possibly defeating them this November? Do you know what these justices have done within the last 10 years of their tenure, being first elected in 2015? Justices Donahue, Dougherty, and Wecht, they allowed Governor Wolf the authority to shut down the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania during COVID. So while Florida reopened, while Georgia reopened under Republican leadership, Democrat Governor Wolf was given the authority by Donahue, Dougherty, and Wecht to shut down our Commonwealth. That's egregious error number one. So when I'm talking to Republicans, it's all about freedom. It's all about liberty. It's all about keeping things open, businesses open, schools open, churches open, protecting the First Amendment, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's egregious error number one. I'm speaking directly to my values. I'm speaking directly to my base. Number two, they allowed mail-in ballots to come 3 days after Election Day. And so for everybody that cares about election integrity and for everyone that feels that there were shenanigans in the 2020 election, as I do, then I'm speaking directly to my base. You can get rid of people that shut you down and allowed mail-in ballots to come 3 days after Election Day, especially since Josh Shapiro, our Democrat governor, wants to run for president, and he wants these justices to rig the election for him in 2028. Then let's take this and make it extremely relevant. Governor Newsom is trying to gerrymander and jerry-rig all his congressional maps, right, in California. These justices gerrymandered our maps in 2018 in Pennsylvania, leading to Democrats taking several congressional seats, ultimately leading to the impeachment of Donald J. Trump. So, Donahue, Dougherty, and Wecht, I'm giving a gift to my base. When I tell my base, my Republicans, you can get rid of people that locked you down, gerrymandered you, and caused shenanigans in the 2020 election. Ooh, these people, just as I already voted, they are so excited to vote no to retention. So it's having an understanding of the chessboard. It's having an understanding of my base. It's doing the research on policy, and it's being able to articulate and communicate succinctly and in just the right way that I am activating my base to come out in an off-year election to do something that's never been done before, defeating 3 Democrat justices by the way, the retention elections are on the back of the ballot. So I have to do the extra legwork to say, flip over your ballot to fire your judges, turn over your ballot to term limit your judges. And by doing all of this, we are doing an exceptional job, and I think we actually have the opportunity to defeat all 3 of them. And the DNC just injected 6 figures into keeping these justices. That's how scared they are in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
Scott, there's a couple of important things there. First of all, you reminded me of some of these judges' elections. I wrote a book earlier in the year called Breaking the Law. It was New York Times bestseller, did very well. But one of my recommendations, if not the main recommendation, is we can never be on peacetime footing ever again. We always have to be on wartime footing, and we have to win every election. Because if we miss one election, they appoint a bunch of judges. If we don't get dialed in on the down ticket races, they elect horrible judges. And so we need a heightened level of focus beyond what we've ever seen. And I feel like, I can't believe I even have to say these things, but I do. I really do. I feel like people really just want to tune in every 2 or 4 years, and that's it for the top ticket races, the ones that get the TV coverage. And that is not enough. And I really I'm so vibing with what you're putting out there about these judgeships.
Thank you.
It's really, really, really important to emphasize that point. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, there's more to it. So look, we have Supreme Court and we have Commonwealth Court judge elections this year as well, Maria Batista and Matt Wolford. But a part of my strategy was I had to make this election, dare I say, pardon my language, sexy. How many people really, after a presidential election, are going to come out the next year and vote for school board, mayor, Commonwealth Court, Superior Court. So what I thought to myself is, listen, if I get an issue sexy enough, aka defeating people that locked us down, shenanigans on our election, and gerrymandering our maps, which is on the back of the ballot, you know what? They're going to have to vote the front of the ballot. They're going to have to vote for everything else. If I get them to do the back, I'm helping every single other down-ballot Republican. I'm helping the whole Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And not only that, but this is critical. And again, I want to harp on this. The Democrat, anti-ICE, pro-illegal alien party, we have 33 sheriffs up for election across Pennsylvania's 67 counties. If Republicans don't vote this November, we could have 33 anti-ICE, pro-illegal alien sheriffs in half the Commonwealth. We have 18 district attorneys that are up for election this year. If Republicans don't vote, you will have 18 of the 67 anti-ICE, pro-illegal alien district attorneys that are responsible for enforcing that people that sheriffs should be locking up actually stay locked up. So let me tie a red bow on this. If you want illegal aliens to roam free in Pennsylvania, don't vote this November. Let the Democrats get sheriffs. Let them get district attorneys that are anti-ICE. If you want people to have cashless bail and be back on the streets within 24 hours, like that Arena was murdered by a 14-time criminal that was arrested and let off by a crooked judge, if you want more of our American girls to be murdered, don't vote this November. Let bad judges win. Let bad sheriffs win. Let bad DAs win. And that's really the message that I'm trying to use to galvanize Republicans to vote. You either are going to vote and you're going to elect good people into office, or your staying home is going to elect bad Democrats that hate everything about us, are antithetical to our values, and are going to let criminals back on the streets within 24 hours. So the people of Pennsylvania have the power this November.
Yeah, one other point that you mentioned in there that I want to put some emphasis on is make sure your arguments are honed, they're efficient. It's not going to be sexy if you're all mealy-mouthed or saying and like and and whatever when you're trying to make a pitch. Get your arguments really tight and focused, and I think that's another lesson of Charlie. That's one reason why I think he was so popular, was that he had those very precise arguments. So I think that's a really good thing when you're trying to convince people in your personal life. I got to ask about the RNC. Where are they at in all this? I'm very encouraged about the new guard of the RNC, but I admit I'm probably not following as closely as you. Are you guys able to work in a simpatico fashion? What's your take?
Thankfully, I have been doing this for a decade at this point. Yeah. And I have a relationship with Joe Gruters. I kind of cut my teeth in Florida. That's where we really honed our craft in terms of voter registration. And it was back in 2022 that our work together as a family, I helped to flip Pinellas County from blue to red. And Pinellas was represented by Charlie Crist, a Democrat that went on to run against Governor DeSantis and famously lost. You know who is the congresswoman from Pinellas County, Florida? A fierce and ferocious fighter named Anna Paulina Luna. And it was through the vehicle of voter registration that we flipped a county from blue to red, and then we flipped a congressional seat from blue to red. And so I know Christian Ziegler and I know Joe Gruters very well. And Joe Gruters is our new chairman, who is responsible in part for leading the effort to flip Florida to a plurality of registered Republicans, where I believe they're at 1.3 million right now. And then also we have an RNC co-chair. Her name is Casey Crosby. She was the treasurer of the party out of the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Yes, it is a Commonwealth. And I'll tell you that Casey is responsive. Joe Gruters is responsive. They're supporting our work. And I do want to give a shout out. Greg Rothman is the chairman of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And so for some of these localized statewide elections, the RNC is leaning on some of our statewide chairs and having the apparatus of the party to do a lot of the legwork. But whenever I reach out to the RNC, they respond, they are communicative, and they want to win. I can tell you that for a fact.
Very, very good. Okay, that's good news. All right, so I want to ask. I still want to get your pitch, though. You meet someone and they're
Yeah.
serving you a ham sandwich, or they're someone you run in them walking on the street, or they come up and say, "Hey, I've seen you
I got
on
one.
social media. What are you all about? Give me your pitch."
Well, I first want to give you the pitch of somebody who doesn't know me, because I'll say that I'm very blessed with the platform I have. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
man, it is like shooting fish in a barrel if somebody knows me,
Yeah.
because they already feel like they know me. They know my story. We have that relationship, even though they don't know me. They feel like they do
Yeah.
because they follow me on social media, and so. I think the most important lesson that I want anyone to learn about the work that we do is truly ABC, always be closing. Always.
Mm.
So when I meet somebody and I take that picture, I shake that hand, etc., I'm always thanking them, and I'm probably infamously known for this. I'm always going to ask them, "Are you registered to vote at your current address?" "Hey, you're in
Yeah.
Pennsylvania. Are you voting this November? I ask you to vote no to retention." "Are you in Virginia? I ask you to vote for Winsome Sears." "Are you in New Jersey? I ask you to vote for Jack Ciattarelli." And then, how are you voting? Are you voting by mail? Are you voting early? Are you voting on election day? And then, hey, can I get you to text 5 of your friends that live in New Jersey and get them to vote for Jack Ciattarelli? One thing that I
Yes.
always do is I'm always closing with them. I'm always making a hard ask of them.
Scott, let's make a hard ask right now in the audience. What do you want everyone to pick up their phone? And they do this. I've
Yes.
done this exercise a couple times where I've asked them to take out their phone. I can see that they do it. So it's what do you want people to do if they're in New Jersey, Virginia, Pennsylvania,
Yes.
California? Well, where are the biggest elections? So speak to the audience.
So to the Alex Marlow audience, to everyone that follows Breitbart, please, I ask you very humbly, I want you to pull out your phone, whether it's an iPhone or Android. No, I'm just kidding. And I want you to download the Early Vote Action application. It's free. All you do is go to your App Store or your Google Play, and I want you to download Early, like you're early to something, Vote, VOTE, Action, like you're taking action. And you'll see something that says EVA with a little check mark, is the V being a red check mark. And you're going to download it to your phone, and you at home will have the opportunity, wherever you are in the United States of America, to send text messages, to make phone calls. We are about, 10 days from election day, so you still have time to send postcards, but I would get those postcards in the mail like today. But here's what I'm asking. We have campaigns loaded for Pennsylvania and New Jersey particularly. There's one called Keep PA Voting, Keep NJ Voting. I encourage those. Here's what I want. In honor of our friend, and I say this somberly, but I say it
Mm-hmm.
respectively, if every one of the audience members watching this right now text 32 people in honor of what would have been Charlie Kirk's 32nd birthday on October 14th, and you do Keep PA Voting or Keep NJ Voting, we will, over the next 10 days, be able to text every single Republican that voted early or voted by mail in 2024 to come out and vote this year in 2025. Download the app, turn off your iMessages, send text messages, 32 a day. 32 a day. That will take you literally a couple minutes. You send the text message, you press the next button, a check mark appears, it's non-redundant, nobody else gets a text message. You do the next person, send the text message, a check mark appears, do the next one. Do it 32 times a day, and you will be helping to get registered Republicans out to vote in Pennsylvania and New Jersey. I make that hard ask of your audience today.
What's the app again? Give me the app again.
It's called Early Vote Action, which is the name of my organization, earlyvoteaction.com. I'm the founder
Very
and
good.
executive director.
I'm fired up. All right, so I want to talk about some of these races, some of these states.
Wait, let me do real quick.
Please.
I want to do a story, because you said, Scott, what's your pitch? Like how do you deal with people, whatever?
Yeah. Here's your Chinese chicken salad. It's nice to see you. You have great hair. Your hair care is terrific. Can I get you anything else? And then you say to me what?
Well, I was out at the Green Dragon Farmers Market in Lancaster. It's where our beautiful Amish live out there, and we go every single Friday. So we have a booth. and we're very engaged with people. We don't sit behind our table. We stand up. We engage with every person. And we always say, hey, are you registered to vote at your current address? I'll never forget this. This guy comes over and he's got dad energy. I'm very good at reading people. I can just pick up, vibes from people, whatever. I love dads. And so this guy comes over. He's probably 30 to 40, bearded, white guy, your average American, your average next door. And I'm talking and I'm like, are you registered to vote? And he goes, no, I'm not. And I'm like, and I just immediately, something triggers in my head. If you tell me you're not registered, I'm going to stop everything I'm doing. You are my prize. And I am going to work hard and put everything on the table at that moment to try to get you to register with me. And so immediately I switch on. I was like, please, we really need you to register to vote. I know that we won last year, but oh my gosh, there are so many people that are not registered, and every good person, if they were registered and voted, we would transform our country for the better. And so I don't know what clicked in my head, but I just got that dad energy from him. And I was like, look, I don't know if you're a dad, but I said, look at the things that they're teaching our children in our schools. We need to create a good life for our babies and for the next generation. And it was so funny because and he goes, okay, I'll do it. And I say, pull out your driver's license. I'll fill it out for you. All you have to do is sign. So my goal is I want to make it as easy as possible. It is legal and lawful for me to fill out everything for him. I'm going to make it so easy. All he has to do is sign and he's done. As I'm taking the clipboard and I'm signing him up with his driver's license, a woman comes out of the bathroom, comes over and walks over, a very pregnant woman, and she goes, oh my word, you're finally registering to vote.
Wow.
And so here, this new father with a pregnant wife that has never voted, and the wife's a voter, saw me with him registering, and that was a +1 Republican in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, because I was at the right place with the right time, with the right message, the right enthusiasm, prepared to register him to vote. And that's what I do day by day. I pour into people. I invest in them one by one at a time, and those numbers add up.
It's such a great story. And by the way, you should become a magician after this too. Once we get our dating app going, then because you can do the cold readings, you got it. You got people read. Okay. I got a few specific races I do want to hit, Scott,
yes.
And then we can do general stuff anytime. But we got some high stakes races coming up. New Jersey and Virginia are big ones. I know you're very involved in New Jersey, and I know obviously Pennsylvania, as you've mentioned a number of times with these judges. And I want to touch on those three, and then I want to take on California separately. But anything my audience needs to know about those three that you haven't shared yet?
New Jersey, 2021 was decided by 84,000 votes. Lockdown Phil Murphy was reelected by 84,000 votes, and 600,000 Republicans did not vote in 2021. 600,000 Republicans. So when I made the hard ask about early vote action, downloading the app and sending 32 text messages, we are targeting the low propensity Republican voters that turned a double-digit state for Joe Biden in 2020 into a within 5 percentage points of electing Donald Trump in New Jersey in 2024, with, by the way, Passaic County, a Hispanic majority-minority county, voting for Donald Trump for the first time since Scott, 1988.
I'm trying to do the math here. So in that race, like 20% of Republicans didn't vote, and then we lost the race by 1%, basically. Just back of the napkin math. Like that's not okay anymore. Like you have to speak up to your friends and family and say, yeah, go for it.
No, I want people to know, guys, we are our own worst enemy. Get it out of your head. There's a reason, Alex, why after this election is over, I'm going to California. You brought it up. Number one, no on Prop 50, no to the Newsom congressional jerry-rigging, gerrymandering, but we are working with Carl DeMaio to get voter ID on the ballot in California. California has more registered Republicans than any state in the union. If every Republican actually voted, we would win California. It is a mentality problem that we have. It is a thought problem that we have. We feel that we can't win, so we don't vote, so we don't win. Therefore, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy of losing because we don't feel we can win. That's why I'm going to Washington to get voter ID with proof of residency on the ballot for 2026. That's why I'm going to Oregon to end automatic vote by mail with Ben Edel, EDTL, in the state of Oregon. That's why I'm going to New Mexico, because we're going to register 50,000 new Republican voters and turn New Mexico into a swing state. That's why I'm going to Indiana to help stop the Republicans not redistricting. We need to do a better job of making Republicans believe that we can win everywhere, put a little bit of elbow grease and sweat equity into it, and we will win.
So good. Okay, so talk to me about California, because I'm out here in California, and we're getting so crushed in terms of registration, and they want to redistrict. And I'm curious if you think that they can really redistrict effectively, because it seems like every demographic is shifting towards Trump, and they'll redistrict based off of registration if Prop 50 succeeds, which is Newsom's effort to redistrict. But is there any hope for us out here, or how far behind do you feel like we are?
Well, I say buyer beware. Governor Newsom, you know what my favorite thing was, Alex? To anyone watching, after you're done watching this show, go on the internet and type in Illinois congressional map. Please, 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 please. Go type in Illinois congressional map, and you will see one of the most gerrymandered maps in human history. I mean, you should see these things. One of the congressional maps is literally like from the bottom of Illinois all the way towards like outside Chicago. And yet they complain about Republicans with fair maps and map drawing. And then Pritzker was like, oh, well, we're going to redraw our maps in Illinois. What? You can't. You can't make them more gerrymandered than they already are. And so in California, I say buyer beware, because you know what? The Hispanic community, like South Florida, like South Texas, like Nevada, like Arizona, the Hispanic community is coming over to the Republican Party, and they may still be registered Democrat and they may be registered independent. And if you start drawing those maps thinking that a certain block of people are going to vote your way, I think they're going to be very surprised when they see the amount of people not voting their way.
Yeah, I think this is really interesting because of just the nature of the Republican brand never being very strong. It's hard to, because a lot of people will vote for a Trump or vote for anti-establishment candidates, but not necessarily want to identify as a Republican, because I've been a Republican my entire adult life, as I say so often on the show, but I've never liked it for a minute. Like, it's just one of those things where I've always felt it to be the necessary evil. And I feel like that could potentially complicate things for Democrats who think they can redistrict. But I want to talk about the gerrymandering in all these blue states, how gerrymandered there are. And let's go back to Indiana, because you set this up already, but I did have this on my list and I wanted to come back to this. There are people there who are Republicans who are a roadblock in trying to get the state optimized so that conservative Republican MAGA candidates can win. Walk us through this and what your plan is.
So Indiana is a red state. Last time it voted blue was for President Obama, barely, in 2008. I think a lot of people forget that. And so for some people, they may have wounds on that and think that, Indiana has some blue leanings. I mean, Pete Buttigieg, didn't he just run away from Indiana? Anyway, so this is a red state, red governor, red senators, etc. But you have some legislators, especially in the Senate, who are not supporting redistricting. So there are two members of Congress that are currently Democrat that if we redraw, we could make it a completely Republican state congressionally and have +2 seats added to our already narrow House majority. Because again, 2026, we lose the House, President Trump will be impeached. He loses the power of the purse. He loses the House. He loses budget. He loses the ability to legislate. He basically becomes a lame duck, right? So in my mind, any person against redrawing the maps to help add Republican seats in the House is anti-Trump, is anti the American people, and anti our ability to continue to legislate after 2026. That means any of these people want President Trump to be a lame duck. Otherwise, they would be supporting redrawing of the maps. And so we are launching and waging a peaceful campaign, and I'm being very overt and I'm being very blunt. Any legislator in Indiana that does not support redrawing the congressional maps, I'm coming to Indiana. I will do events in your district. I will do rallies in your district. I have an army of people that are already willing to help me. The lieutenant governor also just thanked me for coming to Indiana and said that he's asking Governor Braun to do a special session. I will knock doors personally within these districts to primary and defeat anyone that doesn't redraw the maps. And so we're using our grassroots political pressure to peacefully put them into action, let them know you redraw the maps or you will lose your seat.
Really good stuff. All right. So back to California for a couple of quick ones, Scott. Is there any hope for us out here on Prop 50? And I know you've also got voter ID out here, bring that back on your mind, which is, it is ridiculously easy to cheat out here. I'll just tell you that. It's just you just show up and write your name down and you're good to go. And it's just completely absurd, obviously designed to maximize cheating. So what do you have hope for us in Prop 50, and what do we do about the lack of ID?
Y'all need to vote. You know, there's one woman, Elizabeth, who is talking about the mail-in ballot returns for your state every day. And the Democrat numbers keep going up of those that have voted, and Republican percentage keeps going down. And you know what's interesting? And look, I get it. I understand there's shenanigans. I get it. That's not what I'm saying. But look at the fighters in New Jersey. And I'm not saying that people of California aren't fighting and aren't fighters and aren't tough. New Jersey Republicans are returning mail-in ballots at a higher percentage rate than Democrats in New Jersey. California Republicans could learn from what New Jersey Republicans are doing, and that's the difference. Jack Ciattarelli is poised to become the next governor. Jack Ciattarelli is tied in New Jersey in part because Republicans are turning their mail-in ballots at a higher percentage rate. You want to defeat Prop 50? Y'all need to be out knocking doors. Y'all need to be out ballot harvesting, and y'all need to fight fire with the gosh darn flamethrower. And again, I'm tired of being lukewarm. I'm tired of just saying, oh, there's cheating going on. We always know there's going to be cheating going on. The way that we solve it is we stop talking at the problem and becoming the solution and becoming a grassroots warrior.
It's so right on. And I feel like that you're talking about Elizabeth Barkohana, who I had in the show earlier in the week.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like I should just give her a 10-minute segment every day until this, just because
she's great.
Yeah, we just need people to understand that we can only win if we try. And it's just like, I feel like the defeatist attitude, Scott, it was so bleak at the beginning of MAGA when it was, it felt like it was half a dozen people. It was the few of us at Breitbart. It was Jeff Sessions' Senate office, Laura Ingraham, Michael Savage, Ian Coulter. There's like 12 of us, Jack Posobiec. I mean, and we were there, and then we were trying to start this movement, and it was sort of tiny town for like 10 minutes. But then Trump comes down the escalator, and all of a sudden we get our opportunity. And in particular, the attacks on Trump. They could have actually stopped Trump by taking him seriously and then trying to dismantle some of his arguments in a reasonable way, but they didn't. Everyone freaked out and lit their hair on fire, and that just made him so much stronger. And then he took over the world, and now we've got this huge movement. But Scott, it would have felt completely impossible, 10 years ago that we would be at this point. And so people cannot give up. They cannot. It's not what's the point of all this if we're just going to give up on states like California or New Jersey? I mean, the progress in New Jersey is mind blowing. So I guess I want to invite you to say what you're working on next. I know you're hyper focused next couple of weeks in these places that we've discussed already, but you teased New Mexico. What else is on your mind right now?
Midterms. we have an opportunity to replace Governor Evers in Wisconsin, who, by the way, is retiring, with a Republican governor. I do believe Gretchen Whitmer in Michigan, she's term limited, right? Josh Shapiro's been busy running for president while not giving us a budget in Pennsylvania. That's a flip opportunity. But of course, the most important thing that my mind is on, that I keep coming back to, and why I want to win 2025 is victory begets victory. We won 2024. Yes. We have to win 2025 in order to set us up for success in 2026. My main reason for being here is I want to win the House of Representatives and protect President Trump's ability to legislate in 2026. It is all about the House. In Maine, I want to give a shout out. Former Governor Paula Page is running for the 2nd Congressional District in Maine. Support him. Volunteer for him, work for him, help flip that from blue to red. New Hampshire, I think we have a new Senate candidate that just joined the race, right? And we have an opportunity to flip a Senate seat in New Hampshire. You have 2 congressional seats that we can flip. And Kelly Ayotte, do the right thing, Governor, and redraw the maps in New Hampshire and help us protect our ability to legislate. There are so many great opportunities that we have, but ultimately you're going to see me travel across the whole country getting voter ID, election integrity initiatives off the ground. And here's a part of the grand strategy. See, the thing is, the Democrats, they won't tell you what they're doing, and they'll do everything sneakily. I tell you exactly what I'm doing. I tell you I'm going after our hunters. I tell you I'm going after our Christians. I tell you what my roadmap is. Everything I do is plainly visible for everyone to see. I'm not hiding anything. I will be going to California, Oregon, Washington to get voter ID or end automatic vote by mail. And my goal is by supporting election integrity initiatives, that's going to turn up the base, turn out support, and help win congressional seats across the country. That's my roadmap. That's my plan.
Totally inspiring. Scott, I was going to ask how you do it and how you are all over the country, but I just saw a photo of you online with your clipboard, and you were writing on a green dragon with giant wings. So, I mean, haters are going to say it's AI, but it's too real. Like, it looks too real. So now I know that's your secret, and I don't know how you hide the dragon wherever you go, but apparently that's how you're getting around, and that makes a lot of sense. But do you have any tricks for staying on the road a lot? Because I used to love it, and then now as I'm getting older, I just want to be at home every day. And I just give me a key to life on the road, then I'll let you run.
I love what I do. I feel fulfilled. I get to every day wake up and either inspire someone, help empower them through voter registration, lock in their vote. And I have to tell you, I've changed my life around in the last 6 months. I have lost 45 pounds.
Congratulations.
And thank you. And I've done it by consuming my body weight in chicken, a lot of protein.
Yeah, a lot of chicken. Yep.
I always have my coffee. And I tell you, part of being able to do my job successfully is feeling good and fueling my body. And so because I take immaculate care of what I'm putting into my body, I have maximum output. And I think that's very important for us, especially for those that are embracing Maha.
Yeah, amen to that. Really well said. All right, so what can I plug for you? So Scott Pressler on Twitter. Pressler's got 1 S. That's important. So don't
all
don't
of my
add too many
socials.
S's.
Yes, sir. All of my socials are at Scott Pressler, SCOTTPRES1SLER. I am on True Social, Getter, Telegram, Facebook, Gab, Threads, Instagram, TikTok. And my organization is earlyvoteaction.com, And you may also download my application, and please send 32 text messages once a day, every day through November 4th. And then I will see you for the midterm elections.
I'm totally inspired. This is you fulfilled all my hopes and dreams, Scott. It was really great to finally connect with you, and we've been admirers from afar at Breitbart for a while, and I'm really glad that you stopped by the Marlow Show. And I want to stop now because I don't want to burn you out too much. You can come back soon, and we can keep the audience updated on all the stuff you're doing.
Thank you. No, I'm grateful for the opportunity. I love Breitbart.
earlyvoteaction.com, and send those 32 texts right away. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Misty. Thanks, John Cassio, Molly Marlowe, and everyone in the Breitbart audience. Talk to you tomorrow.